If you ever wondered what it was like for a real person, kind of ordinary like me, to start a channel and to get it monetized, and then wondered what that process was like, what the mistakes they made that they wish they wouldn't have made, what it took to get monetized, what it looks like after they've been monetized. Well, I'm going to tell you all about it today as a cautionary and an encouraging tale, and hope that it helps you. Or if you're ahead of me and you're doing better than me, maybe you'll recognize some of this, or maybe you'll laugh at me that I was so silly in some of the things I did. Okay, so I'll start at the beginning. I actually had this channel for a little while because I had a company and I had put a few videos on it. I really didn't know what I was doing, and after a little while I got discouraged with that because at that time videos were way hard to make. And then I sold my company, so the channel stayed dormant for a while. But I had, I don't know, 50, 60 subscribers or something. And I knew that those were all people who liked me, and they wouldn't be offended if they suddenly got a video from me. So when I started to make videos, which I felt like was something that was inspired that I was supposed to do, I didn't even know what videos to make. So I decided, well, I'll just film myself doing stuff. And at that time, cleaning videos were a really big thing. So I thought, well, I'll clean my house and I'll film it. I filmed all day for like 12 hours, and then I started editing it. I had decided that if I was going to learn how to edit, I was going to learn how to do it in a really good piece of software that wouldn't limit me. I could have just tried to edit it on my phone, but I didn't know how to do that either. So I got myself a good laptop and I got Final Cut Pro. I started to edit it, and it was so hard. It took me 2 weeks of working up until like 2 o'clock in the morning and on the weekends, because I was still working at a full-time job. I just kept crashing into walls, didn't know what I was doing, making mistakes, not knowing how to handle the sound, putting the music in, the whole thing. It was so hard. And so a message, if you're just starting and it seems hard, that's normal. Unless you have experience with the software, whether it's on a computer or on your phone, it will seem kind of hard at first, but that's okay. Unless you decide to do something like, I'm just going to film it on my phone and I'm going to put it straight out without any editing, then that won't be so hard. And so you could just go ahead and do that. But I had it in mind I was going to do a bigger thing. I did that, and then I just kept trying to make cleaning videos. Oh, that first video actually did pretty well, but I'd made a really pretty good thumbnail. I learned the title was good, and at that time those were popular, and I had over 300 views, which really surprised me. And I didn't have very many unsubscribes from the people that were on the list already, but now I know it doesn't matter. Maybe they never even saw it, but I did get some new subscribers, which really surprised me. And so I made some more cleaning videos, and then I branched out a little bit. I made a pie making video with my granddaughters, and I did a terrible job with it. The sound was terrible. The whole thing was terrible. You couldn't hear anything, so that I just had it with some music, and yeah. And then I made a video with my son teaching how to do a turkey. At that time, I'd gotten myself a little clip-on microphone, but it had a cord, and so it was attached to the phone, which I still record on an iPhone. And so that was really difficult because that was only so long, but it did really improve the sound. And then I decided, well, I'm going to try some decorating videos. It was Christmas time, and so I decorated for Christmas, and I was so uneasy about how those turned out, and I was overwhelmed with actually turning them into videos because it was still taking me so much time to edit a video, and I was still making so many mistakes. And so I just skipped that whole thing. It was just seemed too hard. But then I thought, well, it's too bad not to show the decorations. So I just made this video where I came in the door and I walked around my house and I showed the decorations, and then I walked out of my house. So it was pretty easy. There wasn't very much editing. I only had some text in there, and I had some good music. I made a pretty good thumbnail again, and my face on it, and I released it into the world and was surprised it had over 4,000 views, which for me was like a viral video. And I'm like, I didn't know what to do. I was like so shocked. And so I kept making these decorating videos, and I did fairly well on some of them and terrible on others. But then I had this thing happen in March where I did a kind of cleaning when I was decorating for Easter, and that video did really well. It kept going up and up and up, and it went out to recommendations, and I was so excited, but then all of a sudden it went like flat. I did not know what that meant at the time. That doesn't mean that YouTube's mad at you. It just means it was trying different groups, and then it ran out of groups that wanted to watch the video, and it just stayed at that point. I didn't know. I thought I'd done something wrong. I thought YouTube was mad at me. And then I had these different videos that came out, and they didn't do so well, and I really thought, oh, YouTube is just mad at me, doesn't want to show people I'm a failure. And I tried doing different kinds of videos, and they were really different, and they did really poorly. I really was convinced that YouTube was mad at me. By this time I had around 400 subscribers, and I just felt desperate, and I felt really discouraged. And then I got COVID, and I got long COVID, and I wasn't really well enough to do a lot of long videos. Shorts were just kind of new at that time. So I signed up to get some training with this guy. It cost me like $70 or something. And he would do one-on-one training. He'd send me an email and tell me what to do. And so I got really good at shorts. I don't know how well they do now, but at the time, everybody was just kind of learning. And I learned to edit, and I found that like 7 seconds was good. I did some that were 60 seconds, but I turned them basically into little stories, which taught me how to edit, get better at them. And I had one that had over like 800,000 views. Unfortunately, those people were mostly in Turkey, countries around there, which I didn't understand was significant. I was just like, whoa, look at all these. And I got 1,000 subscribers because of the shorts. I didn't know that was a problem. And I'm going to tell you why that's a problem. So before I started doing shorts was really all I could do because I was so sick. But if we go back, and I had the 400 subscribers, but I was getting a lot of view hours. I was pretty far along. So I was having an easier time getting toward the 4,000 watch hours, but my subscribers. And this was before 500 subscribers got you anything. You had to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. And so I was so stuck. And so then I started getting all these subscribers, and I had thousands of them. So I was way past that, but I wasn't getting the watch hours because the shorts watch hours do not count. Now, if they counted, yeah, I would have been monetized way long before I was. But they don't count them. The only way to get money is you have to have millions of views within 90 days. And there was no way someone like me was ever going to get millions. So it became apparent to me that the only way I'd ever get monetized is if I started to do long videos again. But here's the thing, you have to get those 4,000 views within 365 days. And so after 365 days, any of the views you have fall off. And because it had been so long since I'd been making a lot of longs, I kept having the views fall off. So I'd get more and then they'd fall off. And then I'd get up to that 4,000 watch on my Christmas video, and I got past that, and then all fell off. So I would just start making some progress and it'd fall off, and I thought, I'm never going to get to 4,000. This is awful. What am I going to do? Because people who sign up as subscribers as shorts generally do not watch long videos. So you see, I got myself into a big mess. There'll only be like 2 to 5% of people who will make that crossover. And I found out when I started making longs, my original subscribers that were really wanting to watch my videos thought that I'd gone missing because they weren't seeing my short videos, or they weren't interested in short videos. So when I started publishing longs again, they were going, oh, there you are, I thought you'd quit, which was really discouraging to me. So there I was kind of stuck. I didn't realize that I had really kind of messed things up with the shorts. I didn't know what I was going to do. I came across the idea of doing some hauls, and people were just getting into Temu. It was like a new thing. And so I ordered some things from Temu just as an experiment. I gave my honest impression of what I was seeing. And that video did over 9,000 views. And I got tons of subscribers, and it got me over the magic 4,000. So then I got monetized. And so I did a number of Temu videos. And those are really interesting to do. Some people really glad to see someone say, yeah, this is why this is good. No, I don't like this at all, because so many people were sponsored by Temu, and I was asked repeatedly by Temu if I'd be sponsored, and I was like, no way, no way. I wanted to give my real opinion, and I didn't like the sponsored ones where everything's just so wonderful, right? So I didn't want to do that, and that was interesting because some people were really glad to see my videos and have someone really tell the truth, and other people really yelled at me. They were so offended that I'd even bought from Temu. I was still trying to do homemaking type videos, and I did a lot of different things. Like a video that ended up doing well for me was making prayer kind of room in my corner. I did one video that did well for me, which was 4 hours of cleaning music. And I'm going to show you some back-end stats of some of this stuff so you can see actual numbers, because I think they'll be kind of illuminating. I was doing Christmas videos. Now we're up to December of 2023, and I just wasn't getting anywhere anymore. And I was feeling really bad. I was just so close to quitting. I had tried doing Vlogmas to see if that would get it going. And I really liked those videos I made, but they didn't do anything. Even my favorite ones didn't do anything. And it was still so hard for me to edit. It was taking so long. My husband was really getting nervous with me because I was just filming and editing all the time, and he felt like he wasn't having any time with me, and it was Christmas. And I just flamed out around the 14th or the 15th. And so that hadn't worked. I got really discouraged. I was so close to quitting. And one day I was sitting, I didn't make any videos for a couple of weeks after that. I was sitting looking at my channel, and I was thinking, I just need to delete it. I just need to stop this. And then it came to me, no, the problem is you're making the wrong kinds of videos. Your channel has the wrong focus. And so I was like, well, what should it be? And it should be, you need to simplify things. You need to, personally, need to simplify your life. And then it came to me that the name of the channel should be Towards a Simple Life. I thought, oh, well, that's a good name. And I checked it out, nobody had it, so I grabbed it. Then I made, new title, new everything, what I was going to do. Then I started making decluttering videos. And then I started making videos where I was talking about things I was learning. I was reading books, and I was sharing those about how I was trying to overcome procrastination and get down to what was essential, what was important, and, did decluttering videos. And it was the right time of the year. January is a really good time of year to be doing that. And those videos did well. And I also decided, well, I'm going to simplify all of those haul videos. Besides doing Temu, I did some Amazon. I did some of the craft stores and home goods and things. I deleted all of those haul videos. I have deleted videos in the past that I shouldn't have, but I don't feel bad about that because I was making a big swing on my channel, and those were the most popular videos, so they always showed up on the home page, and they were 180 degrees away from what I was trying to do. So I needed to delete those. Just so you know, if you've made money on a video and you delete it, YouTube doesn't take the money away. It's just that video stops making money because it's not available anymore. So I don't feel bad about that. But when we talk about deleting, I have made some mistakes with deleting. And they were during times when I thought YouTube was mad at me. Do you remember I told you about when I was 400 subscribers? And I thought, because I had all these various types of videos, I thought, I'm confusing YouTube. All my things, I need to decide it's going to be about this. So I deleted all the things that didn't fit in that bucket. It was just stupid. It was just me being dumb. That's all. And then sometimes in the future, I've deleted videos because, like, when I talked a lot about what I was going through in long COVID and going to try to get the disability and everything. It was good for me to be sharing that, but later I decided I don't want that to be on there anymore because I'm kind of past that. What will happen is people will come to your channel and they'll think that situation still exists, and that situation did not exist. So I deleted those. I don't feel bad about deleting those, but I have deleted videos that should have just been there as part of the historical record. There was nothing really seriously wrong with them. I just had some times of feeling uncertain about what I was doing, maybe embarrassed that it wasn't as good, trying to make the channel all be cohesive, and yeah, I've stopped doing that. I've stopped doing that. Now, like, if I am not sure, I will maybe put it on private for a little while and think about it, but then I'll usually put it back. I just did that with some lives. Like, I hadn't done lives for a long time. So I had done these 2 lives, and then I didn't feel really good about the second one. I felt like it was just me talking about myself too much. And so I hid those. And I thought, I'm not going to do lives anymore. But then I fell onto doing them vertically, which is really easy. And it opens it up to me just chatting to people, which is what I wanted to do anyway. And so I'm doing those lives, and then I made those other lives visible again. And I have done a little bit of taking some of the videos from early on and bringing those back just so that they're out there. Like, there's one I did that was a crafting video with my daughter, and it was really cute. So I re-edited that a little bit and put it back out, and I've done some of that. So here I am now. I have done a video about how frustrated I am with YouTube right now, but you just never know. You just never know. One of the reasons I feel frustrated, and a lot of people feel frustrated, is just because the homepage is so wonky. And it's hard for me to find videos that I am interested in or to see the people I'm subscribed to. And so because it's so hard for me and my husband, I know it's hard for everybody else. And people have told me, yeah, they're really frustrated with YouTube, and a lot of them are leaving YouTube. They're not watching it for that reason. And then YouTube has just gone a little crazy with the advertisements on the videos. They used to give creators the ability to kind of control that and how many they'd have mid-roll. They took that away. For a minute, I thought, well, I'll just demonetize them and not have any ads. And then I found out, no, well, that doesn't help. YouTube will just show the ads, but you just won't get a piece of the income. And I thought, well, that's stupid then. If I can't take the ads off, then I am just going to go ahead and monetize them. But I don't have control over how many ads you get and when they happen. So just so you know that. I wish I could, but I don't. And so if you get monetized, just know that's the deal. And I remember before I was monetized, seeing ads on my videos and feeling like this is the biggest ripoff in the world. YouTube's making money off this, but they're not giving me any money off it. Just seems so unfair. And I think that's one of the reasons people want to get monetized so badly. It is kind of a milestone, and then you will start getting a piece. How much you get is dependent on what your video is about and how many companies are interested in keywords related to that video. So some videos will get quite a few views and they won't make hardly anything. It's just because of the topic. The reverse is true. If you have a video that's on a good topic and get a lot of views, then that's when you'll make some money on it. But there's not big money. I have a couple of those shorts out there that are still doing pretty good, but you make almost nothing with shorts. Like 11 cents for the whole month or something. So here I am right now, and you just never know. You just never know. I remember when I made that video about the friends, me not having friends, and I'm okay with it. I almost didn't publish that. I just thought, oh, people are going to hate that. So I held on to that video for a couple of weeks and then was shocked that it did well. And I didn't know how the video where I explained how I feel about what's going on YouTube would do. And it did well, but other videos that I've done that I just really love maybe don't do so well. I never know. Sometimes when I do book reviews where I'm talking about what I'm learning in books, people really enjoy those and do well, and sometimes they don't. I guess it just depends on the topic and the book, and you just don't know. So to me, making a YouTube video is like tossing dice because you don't know where it is. It's like gambling. You don't know. I really don't like these experts out there saying, if you do this, we will guarantee you that you do this. But we're really I'm not going to guarantee, but pretty much, if you don't do this thing, then you know it's your own fault. You're not doing that. And I got sucked into spending some money, particularly online. I spent some, we'd have so much success. And these people, they just did exactly what we said to do. And then they just did so well. There's so many different aspects of that they can't control. And it's foolishness to me to make that kind of promise to people, because they typically sell to people who are really new. I found out that when I participated in that, I knew more than a good deal of the people who were there, because I had been doing it for a long time, and I'm one who studies it, and I was constantly answering beginner questions. And then I would get frustrated when they would tell somebody something and I'd be like, that's not true, that's not true, that's not true. And then later they'd come back and say, yeah, it's really like this. So I got really frustrated with that, because you can't make promises. There's so many things. I am 67, I'm going to be 68 next month. I'm older. I'm not one of those younger, beautiful girls. And guess what? The younger, beautiful girls that are, they do better. They just do better. Every once in a while, you'll see someone that's retired that does really well, and they do really well really fast. But that's because of what they're talking about. They're generally talking about the money that goes with retirement, and they're answering those questions that people who are retired or who want to be retired or who are going to be retired soon want to know. And so there are a lot of people who look for that, and they find those people, they relate to them, and they watch them, and so those channels grow really well. There are not as many people out there who relate to me, relate to my face, who are not offended by my face, because there are people who first see my face and they don't want to watch me because they don't think they're going to relate to me at all. That's just the way it is. And they're not interested in the topics I cover. That's just the way it is. And generally, the topics I cover are not the kind where you get a lot ad percentage on those. It's the way it is. Every once in a while, I'll hit something lucky, and I will get one, but I don't. So a mistake I made, and I've talked about this before, is that because I'm aware that I'm not the most beautiful person, and I've never been called beautiful. Nobody's ever called me beautiful. They have said I'm cute. When I was younger, they'd say you're cute. And I think part of it's just my personality, but I'm not a beautiful woman. I'm not cutting myself down, but I'm not one of those fancy women. I'm not, I have kind of a round face. I have some English-looking teeth going on here. I am what I am, and I'm okay with what I am. So don't think that. I have come to terms with who I am and how I look, and I have wonderful parents and grandparents, and I look like some of them, and that is just groovy. But there are a lot of people out there who will not be attracted to me. And so I went through a period of time where I didn't put my face on thumbnails. I thought, well, I'll just make it apparent try to make it apparent that the video will be nice and there'll be beautiful things in it. And then maybe they can get over that and watch it. Sure enough, what would happen is, you have to keep people for like 30 seconds. You want to get them through 7 seconds. When they would see me, I'd have a lot of drop off. I'd have people watch. I'm not saying that nobody would watch. You can't fool anybody. So I finally came to terms with I need to put my face on every thumbnail. If not my face, then you see enough of maybe the side of me that you get the idea of who I am a little bit. So then when you see me talking to you, you're not all offended by it. So I hit on that idea. I really need to put my face on every video so that people who relate to me and are not offended by me will come in, because then it will be, is the video interesting enough to keep them there? That's the big question, and that's what I try to do. But they're not going to be offended as soon as they see my face. So there are a lot of people who feel uneasy about that. There's one thing about YouTube. When you're editing yourself, particularly when you're editing yourself doing things, you will have to come to terms with who you are, how you look, what your body's like, because you will see yourself from every single angle. It's really disconcerting at first. I found out I have some real mannerisms of my father, and sometimes you see me in my mouth and I'm like really concentrating, my mouth's hanging up a little bit, or I just see different things, or my hands, and I'm like, man, that's like my dad. It was really something to see me from all angles and see how I walk. And my mom used to say, stand up right. Well, she was right about that, but I am who I am. And I got over being bothered by that because I am who I am. I got over being bothered by talking to the phone and talking to the camera, I meant to say. Because when I get comments back and I'm talking to people, then you really do learn. There are real people watching this. When I'm talking to the camera, I'm literally talking to people. I know I'm talking to people, and it's easy for me to talk to people like this. So that's why I don't have any trouble with that, but I did it first. So if you're on the new side and it just seems really awkward to you, it's normal. The sound thing is a really huge, big problem. Huge problem. And I didn't know I had some hearing loss at that time either. So I didn't have the right microphones. It took me a while to get that. Then I had to learn how to process it. I have to do some things in the software to make my voice sound right. I've learned to edit with my eyes, so I don't want the sound to go up in the yellow spikes. And at first, there are a lot of videos that are too loud. It's because I didn't know they were too loud. And now I can edit without my hearing aids because I know what the waveform should look like. Anyway, but the sound is really important and I can't get past that. So I spent a lot of money, wasted a lot of money on microphones. And I even bought a microphone that was about this expensive, but I bought the wrong kind. The microphone I bought before, I don't remember the name of it right now, but it picked up all the room noise and even like the hum of the computer and everything. And I couldn't get that out. And so I did some research and I found about one. It's the Deity VO7U. And so when I film with it, I just put it here. It only picks up my voice. And then if there's any background noise, Final Cut Pro has a setting to reduce that. So between the two things, this was a game changer. So if you look at my early videos, and I did a lot of text in there, there's not a lot of voiceover. I was more successful with voice to the camera, but as far as voiceover, I couldn't make it sound good. So it's not that I was opposed to it, I just couldn't make it sound good. But then when I got this changed the game. And it was really important because people enjoy hearing you talk versus here's a neat looking video with nice music, but I'm having to read the words because then they can't watch the video because they're reading the words. Solving your sound is a real big thing. I have some people I really love watching, but their sound, they just have got to fix the sound, and it's hard for people to take that seriously enough. They'll spend a bunch of money on a camera or get a new phone, but then they're too cheap to buy a solution for the sound, and people will leave your videos for sound problems more than anything else. One thing that I learned to do until I got it down is I would put my video up, I put it on unlisted, and then I would watch it on my TV to see how it sounded over my TV, because sometimes it will sound good to you on your computer, on your phone, and then over the TV it sounds like trash. So now I know how to handle the sound, and that's just everything. I started getting more views and I started making more money. So it was a really good investment, but I did spend so much money. My goodness. Buying microphones I didn't need, buying all kinds of fancy things to suspend the camera. Now I just use some cheap tripods. They break kind of easy, but they're really cheap to replace. And the nice thing, they're really easy to go around, really easy to... Oh, some other time. This is getting to be too long. So here's a month-by-month view of what I made over the last couple years so you can just get an idea. This is what someone who has 20,000 subscribers has made. I hope it was helpful. I hope I see you again. Bye.